counsel. Judge, is it okay to begin? Your Honor?
They're gonna start. Are you okay?
Is it okay? You can sit there if you want. Yeah, you can sit there.
It's a 3-minute conference.
Yeah.
You can sit on
You all right? Okay.
it. You're good.
All right, colleagues, it's, today's the, November 15th, 2023. The pre-meeting conference will begin. We're a little late, but I like to just skip around so we can save more time towards the, island that we're going to discuss later on. So I'd like to start with, resolution number 3. It does need the, there's a, rule waiver. Anybody object to that? Okay, Jesse Wilson, anybody object? It looks like the county clerk employee. Everybody okay with this, Commissioner Dees? Any discussion? Okay, discussion is closed on number 3. Our next piece of legislation is another resolution. Again, Thursday rule. Hopefully everybody's gonna waive the Thursday rule for the legislation that's in front of us. This is a resolution for the adjustments for the solid waste service charge. There is a list of solid waste service charge that they are, I think, going to not include. Did everybody have the opportunity to take a look at that list? And is there any discussions on that list? You want to take a few minutes to look at them? There's a quite extensive list. These are the people who, the properties in the city of Utica that are not going to be charged with solid waste for one way or another. Maybe they have a dumpster or something else there. Any questions to that list? Any discussions? Okay, very good. Discussion is closed on resolution number 4. And let's move to ordinance 1 and 2. There is two ordinances that came to the table. Of course, there were some issues on I call it an island that was put on, in South Utica, on Eastwood and Dunham. We do have our engineering department here, Austin, to speak about it. Austin, can you give the council the lay of the land, let's just say, of the new street?
So the decision was actually, it was prior to me, so it was Mike Mahoney, Celeste Friend, and myself. We had a conversation about ARPA projects, and through that discussion, there was a thought of doing a traffic island or a roundabout. There wasn't enough room to do a roundabout. So CNS, they actually did a study of this intersection, which was just given to you, and it shows 2 viable options, which is a island or bringing in the curb lines. The decision to go with the island was for beautification. There's going to be a small planting, and it also gives an area to have a plaque designating it as a homestead design for that area. The island has 2-way traffic on both sides. It's 24 feet each direction all the way around. Depicted in the graphic that was given shows that there can be movement all the way around the island. It doesn't impede on anything as of now. The DPW did go up and take a look at it for plowing operations. They don't see it as an issue. But really, other than that, that's what I have.
Austin, did you have the opportunity to ask the fire or police department if there's any issues with that?
I did reach out to the police department, but I haven't gotten anything back yet.
Okay. I know that Mark's very concerned about this.
Can I ask one clarification? We hash marked the same area a year ago or less than a year ago. I don't remember exactly what month last year. You marked it all out with white paint in order to sort of, as kind of a trial run, right?
Yeah,
So can you talk about that?
So the decision to do a painted traffic island in this area was brought up, and we actually went out there, we laid it out, and there was epoxy paint that was put out in this intersection to try to help actually delineate the travel lanes, because as it was just a large expansive intersection that wasn't delineated for travel. That was in place for a year. There wasn't any issues with that, and then we actually went and got a design to do mountable granite curbing there, and that's where we proceeded.
Okay. Mark has a lot of concerns about it because there's some issues that I guess the rest of the council did not get any type of input on it because there was curbing put down. I know it wasn't in the plan; it was done later on. I understand that. But Mark, you have some. I know you have some questions on this.
Yeah, I do, Mark. When this was starting to get built, no one of the residents in that area knew that was happening. And you have some people, they're kind of blocked in now because they can't park in front of their house anymore. That's number one. Number two, like you said, what Frankie said, anything with curbs or breaking curbs or making curbs has to come through the common council before anything's approved. And in this here, you know, this improvement study, how come we never got that? How come nobody was notified up there? And another, you know, it's the Olmsted thing, but that was actually built by Ridgewood. I don't know who the architects were way back then, but, and that was in the Olmsted area almost, as you're right.
Yeah.
And so it passed that flying colors. So all of a sudden, somebody makes the changes to the thing without coming to the common council. All right, and I got two stories. The mayor didn't know anything about it. The mayor did know something about it. I heard that was always between Michael, Mahoney, and Celeste. Not, I didn't even mention your name.
So, but the thing was, is like I was involved with that. Again,
Uh-huh.
I wasn't, not a department head.
But you know, you painted down, you know, you painted down, you know, you painted
Yeah, there
some
was a
roadways.
painted
Well,
island.
people don't know what that means unless you talk to them, but no one talked to anybody. No traffic study was done by the police department. I talked to the chief Ingersoll. They're gonna have a hard time with the fire trucks going through there. I just don't get it. And I think what I'm gathering, people that live on that street, they gotta drive down to Westminster now to come back home. Because they can't go, when they come off Edgewood, they're gonna go, they can't take a left anymore. And how about the bus drivers, the school bus drivers? What's going on with that? How about the plows? I mean, the plows.
One question, Mark. Can you give one question at a time so we can address
But
it?
anyway, those
Yeah.
are my questions right
Yeah.
now, and the thing is, it was done, you know, there was no transparency on this whole thing. And that's all I've been hearing. That was like the word for the last 2 years, transparency, transparency. No, it's not. This was all done without anybody knowing about it. And I'm at large.
Yeah,
I'm a
no,
citywide guy,
I do see your point in there. It does impact one driveway.
all right? I mean, one council person doesn't have the approval of doing anything on the streets. And myself, Sam, or Frank were not notified, and we're citywide people.
So I have a question for Court and Whitesboro. Was that brought to council for reducing the width of the intersection?
No.
So why is this?
What was the question?
Which one?
Court and Whitesboro, you're
Was
reducing.
that Councilman Burmester's
Yeah.
project?
Yes,
Columbia.
correct.
Part of the project came before council.
Okay,
All the signage got approved by council.
but that's
But
installed.
the actual
Road.
curb was not, although I don't believe any major. I-
There's
There was-
It's an extension of the curb.
there is an extension of the curb that's reducing the width of the road. Because as that intersection was, that was a large expansive intersection. The one,
Oh, yeah, well, what about the Barrett Street one too? That
Yeah.
never came before the council.
yeah,
So I don't know what the precedence expectation is here.
that's
So-
just my question.
And another thing, I got one other thing.
One second.
I mean, is it well lighted? I mean, how many cars are gonna hit that thing? And that's what I'm saying, that the police didn't have a study on it or nothing, but I know they're
But-
doing it now.
I mean, you're talking about a local road.
Yes,
It-
I
it's not
talk
like
a
it's in
local
the middle-
road,
It's
yes.
not like it's in the middle of Genesee
But
Street.
who makes the determination to change the plan that's already been built by Olmsted?
This was something that was a trial through a painted island, and then we took that and we
Yeah,
brought it into.
You know how people are, they see a painted alley, they think, oh, maybe they're doing a sewer line or something. I'm just saying, I got so many calls from Dunham Road and Edgewood, and it was ridiculous.
Dunham Road in Eastwood, you mean, correct?
Dunham and Eastwood is the intersection.
Yeah, I mean, Eastwood.
Right, not Edgewood.
That's my point.
Kim,
Mark, you all set?
I think it was totally unauthorized, and that's why I put this in here. That's all I'm saying.
Mr. President, you got the floor.
Yeah, separate from the discussion to remove this or not, the fact that it didn't come through council and get reviewed, considering the change. I live in this neighborhood,
Yeah.
And the issue that I'm asking the council now, which you're gonna have to talk to the constituents about, is the fact that when the lines were painted, it did help the intersection. Okay, I live there. My kids ride to Ridgewood Market all the time on their bicycles there. But when cars were parked all along the road and there was oncoming traffic, this is a curve that I could not necessarily see, we had space. Every day when I come home from work now, there's cars parked all along there. And with the cars parked there, with no snow, with no other obstructions, this is causing it. It's not necessarily, now someone could argue, oh, go 10 miles an hour. But the point is with the cars parked there, the council's gonna have to now, in my opinion, and this is why it should have possibly been reviewed by the council, and I believe it should have been reviewed by the council. And if anyone's asking about precedents on other projects, I am gonna stand here and say that these things will be reviewed by the council starting January 1st, okay? So we need to figure out what to do with this now, because if it does stay there and there's cars parked all along the road here, it does create a situation where there's only one lane left. Even though there's 24 feet, technically it's enough to park a car and drive a car and still have another in the island, but we are gonna have to assess each roadside and figure out, and I hope that, you know, what we can do is have a study on that, but I think it'll end up subjective. But that's not, having the actual physical island there is creating a situation that I'm not comfortable driving through. And not because the island is there, or was put there. This is the reality of that intersection. All of these houses have cars parked there every single day. And they're allowed to. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing right now. But we've created a situation now where we have to address that after the fact. And that's why this should have been reviewed. Because we didn't review all of what needs to change. We could say, oh, we gotta do it now, but that's, this, if you ask a lot of people in this neighborhood, it doesn't make me very comfortable even driving 10 miles an hour through here with cars parked there. So we're gonna have to address something. Thank you.
Katie, you want to say something?
Yeah, there's a lot of points covered tonight. You know, one of the things we always say is we apparently vote based off of how many people like something or don't. And whatever side you're on, that side apparently has always, like, you know, the most people in favor of it. You know, just to throw into the mix, I know people who live there who do like the intersection as it is. If we explore this, I just hope that the council, again, just, it's not about removing it, it's what is the better option. Because when it was a blank space wide open, that didn't seem like the best case scenario either, as engineering is pointing out. Somebody brought up fire trucks can't get through. Again, if it's 24 feet wide, we can look at that. I thought DPW said that they could, the plows said that they could get through, right, Austin?
That's correct.
They're not concerned. There's some people I think that they're missing the point of these are safety precautions. It's, even if it's inconvenient to some to slow down and drive, and sometimes that's kind of like by design, the point of it. But yeah, I think the precedence is important. It does matter. We should trust our departments to have the expertise in this, just like you guys did great with Court and Whitesboro and Varick Street on that curve. And then even when you go over to Lincoln and Tracy, that little pedestrian island. These have been very successful throughout the city, and nobody went door to door asking everybody. But South Utica gets different treatment than places like West Utica. And in this case, I think it's actually not, I don't know, not the concern that people think it is, but okay, then if we are going to reverse this back, and I'm looking at Councilman Williamson's legislation, how much is it to take it back? Hasn't over $100,000 already been invested to try this for a year, to look at it? So those are my concerns that I would like answered.
Well, this poor pain on their behalf is not a crisis on mine. That's not right.
Well, when it comes down
Hold
to
on, hold on. I got the president next.
Yeah, Mark.
Mark, can you please
So-
let Katie finish, please?
No, when it comes down, like, the only people who pay are literally the taxpayers, and if it doesn't have to go all the way back to just being completely paved over, because some people are bothered if they weren't notified first, like, these are all things we can fix in the future, but it is a it's a working design. that if it needs improvement, that can be done, but to go all the way down to the bottom and repave it. And in December, this is just kind of a weird timing situation too on top of it, but I'll leave those opinions to myself. But otherwise, I would love to know the cost to take it all the way down of what some people are proposing. Thank you.
Mr. President, you're next on the floor.
I went and knocked on some doors and found one of the people that wanted this, thinks it's great, thinks it's beautiful. And I'll agree with you that having the lines there and having this there are controlling the traffic differently. I agree with that. But I'm telling you, this isn't perception. I am having to drive into oncoming traffic when cars are parked there. So I'm going to ask the people that did this, can you please go knock on the doors of the people who wanted this, because I did, and ask them if they're going to be happy when they can't park in front of their house anymore. Because they told me no. Why can't I park in front of my house? I said, your neighbor is now in front of this island. You're right next to it. If you're parking in front of your house, you're creating a situation where, especially when there's snow on the ground, people will be driving into oncoming traffic. So that might be subjective, okay? But I'm telling you what I'm physically having to do. Whether I'm going 10 miles an hour or not, I know this is strong towns. This is make drivers feel uncomfortable. This is all of those things that make people slow down. But this is incomplete the way it is because people can park all over the place. And when there's cars parked all around this island, it doesn't work the way we're talking about it in this study.
Wait a minute, 1 minute, Your Honor. Let me get to Joe Beatrice.
That's good. I'm good.
Thank you, Mr.
I just
President.
don't, and here's the point. I'm not insinuating that because I'm uncomfortable, I don't like this. I don't like this because right now it's not done, but there's a giant island in the road, okay?
Understood, Mr. President. Mr. Beatrice, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, a couple questions that maybe the engineering can answer. What is the proper procedure? Any curb cuts are supposed to come in front of the Common Council? Because I don't care if something happened in West Utica or happened in another spot. If that didn't come in front of us, that's wrong too. So two wrongs don't make a right. My second part of that question is, am I wrong in saying any time that there's any sort of change that anybody within 200 feet is supposed to get a letter, or is that just something with,
Codes. It's
codes or
different.
something like that?
It's different.
It's variances,
Zoning.
zoning. So technically nobody has to be notified when they're doing changes like this?
No, not unless it's related to zoning or planning board where they're entitled to a public hearing.
Okay. So the curb cut part, is that supposed to come in front of the council before anything is done?
No, all curb cuts, they actually go through the engineering department.
So it doesn't have to come in front of the
No, it does
council?
not. No, it does not.
That's on you.
Okay.
Okay, Mark, you have the floor, or do you want the judge to have it?
No modifications to roads don't have to come in front of the council?
I don't know that that's a question for Austin. I think that that's a question for me or a judge.
Yes.
And I don't know if Judge was gonna jump in. He had a point, so I don't know if I wanna defer. to
Mark,
him
is it
first,
okay to defer to the judge?
Just before I.
Judge, you have the floor, Your Honor.
I think that one of the problems that has developed is when this discretionary funds became available, and we have a section of second-class cities law that divests you of a lot of your powers to some extent. And so there's a lot of things that happened that you didn't even know about were happening. Things were being built, hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent. But one thing I believe is different in this situation. Nothing in that diversionary funds and the section of second class citizens law divests you of your powers regarding traffic and streets, naming and all that sort of thing, and also the direction of travel. The object is there, and I think you've all seen it. And I think there has been enough discussion in that neighborhood. In fact, we have a resident from that neighborhood telling you what his concerns are because it's a child on a bike. Well, a child on the bike isn't gonna make much difference now because if it
Well,
snows.
The child on the
It-
bike
No,
wasn't
I mean,
necessarily
well,
my
just
concern.
that, I'm saying that
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the snows fall, that all becomes a whole different area.
Because they're on the sidewalk.
Yeah, because that 24 feet disappears.
Mhm.
People who live there wanna park their car and go in the house, and all of that changes. I think now that you are made aware of all of that, what you have to do is you have to come up with legislation that probably changes the direction of travel. When you come up Dunham, you're gonna turn right into Edgewood, out to Oneida Street, you're probably in a one-way. I don't think in the wintertime you could possibly have two. And when you come up
It's-
Edgewood from the west, you're gonna probably have to go either straight or turn right on a one-way going the other way, because trying to go left might be a real problem, because you might be meeting the traffic coming up from the southern edge. So I mean, that is what your task is today, along with the people from engineering and the Corporation Counsel's office, because there should be legislation directing that traffic, because you have pointed out something that can be a problem. Now, I went up there, those are granite curbs.
Beautiful curves.
Huh?
Beautiful curves.
They're they're gorgeous, and they're granite. And
Very expensive.
if you don't see them and you hit them, and depending how fast you're going, it could be hazardous to you and your tires and even you, especially if there's a car parked there. It might, hitting that might throw you into something that you didn't anticipate. So I'm saying to you, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying to you that now that you understand the problem, that residents have talked about the problem, even people who like that particular object, it's in the middle of a roadway. An object in the middle of a roadway should have been approved by the Common Council.
Okay, Your Honor, thank you.
And so it hasn't been. So forget all that. Either you're gonna remove it, or you're gonna change the direction of travel in a way that you think is the best you can do to protect the safety of the people who are driving on that roadway, walking on that roadway, or riding a bicycle or motorcycle. Thank you very much. That's all I
Thank
have
you,
to
Your
say.
Honor.
So,
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
yeah,
So my idea is, how about we wait for the traffic study from the police,
Okay.
information from the fire department, put this in committee until then. I think can we stop the process right now?
It's already completed.
no, it's done.
It's already completed?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think let me just speak about the direction of travel.
So, well, before you, can I have the floor
Miss-
before anyone else
yeah,
talks?
Mark, is it okay if Mr. President gets the floor?
I did request the floor for anyone's questioning
Yes,
that.
he
I've
did.
been waiting patiently.
Yes, he did.
Just, I want to make it clear, especially for people on YouTube, right? This plan, what was done, didn't change how people drive on this. I'm not disagreeing with that, okay? So we can't argue that the traffic pattern has changed. I can do every single thing that I used to be able to do, okay? The angst surrounding this is there are things that clearly should have been considered prior to this happening. And I also talked to the plow drivers. I did yesterday, okay? And they said if we don't introduce and plan for marking on the corners of this, they are going to hit it. That's gonna break our plows, okay? That's gonna cost us.
Or the curb.
Yeah, okay, so there are things that the council needs to consider regardless of what happens. And that's what the problem is. Because now we're gonna create a situation where the council has to do things after the fact, and the people who did or did not want this are also gonna have more consequence to this after the fact, that now they may not have a decision on because we may have to do certain things, rather than being part of the process. Okay, and again, that's why I'm bringing this up. Like many other things that have happened over the last 8 years, I've witnessed this. These problems are an argument because we don't actually make everyone who is, until the end, part of the process. We can't argue this was complete because we're talking about it. If it was complete, we wouldn't be talking about it.
Oh, sorry, Mr. President?
Okay?
Celeste, you have the floor.
I just wanted to point out that, Judge, the curbs are mountable. You wouldn't hit them. They're not 90-degree angle to the roadway. They are a 45. Is that right, Austin? Am I
That's
describing that correctly?
They're curved.
The
yes,
curbs
they're
are, they are what are called mountable curbs. So the idea that like you would hit it, like you would be hitting a brick wall and damage your car, or whatever it is you said, isn't quite accurate. But Stephanie, can you?
Steph?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Austin.
I
I was like, no, the other.
And now, I was, and now I'm not. Stephanie wasn't confused.
Yeah, never mind.
Austin can have my
I
job
was
if he
thinking,
wants.
Just for the day, we'll have skew all the engineering questions. So Stephanie, those are mountable curves, am I right? Can you address the question of the idea of changing traffic patterns being the purview of the council versus any other adjustments to the roadway that the executive branch can make without consult? Did the executive branch break the law when it extended the curb at Whitesboro and Court or extend the curbs on Varick Street? Did it break the law by not bringing those to the council?
So, I don't have the list of designated powers and authorities that the common council has.
I do. They're in front of me.
Specifically, what?
I do
Yeah,
in
they're
front of me.
listed out. Yeah.
They are listed out. I don't have
Yeah.
that in front of
They
me.
apply.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
But that spells out what the authority is. Again, my familiarity with the two projects were the project in West Utica was slightly different in that
Any,
a lot of it was there. that-
any type of curbing
The Varick Street one or the?
is under the
No, the
council's
one
purview?
that Councilman,
So I thought they just told me no, it
Burbing,
doesn't have to come to
Burbing.
us.
Curbing.
Any
Curbing. It says it very clearly in the.
So that means that the stewardship
or
should
an
come to the council, because they enlarge.
Actually,
Curb
any
cuts,
type
Those
of-
are existing curbs.
Right.
No, they created more curb cuts.
Any,
Yeah,
ti-
yeah, that's part of the
any
process.
type of
Curb
curbing.
cuts is a separate process.
It's
So,
right,
and-
clear.
and curb cuts go
Construction.
through planning board when there's a variance, and otherwise, it's through the engineering department.
That's correct.
But of course, Austin knows from this day forward, if there's curbing, call the council. Call the council. So, listen, Austin's new, everybody. We all know this. So, we all make mistakes when we're new doing things in council. So, it's very clear that the curbing is simple, and any type of construction of the curbing, if you want to go into your section that gives your powers, it says authority of the common council. It's section 9.001. Anytime the council wants to purview their authority, it's there. But I agree with my colleague. Let's try to do a traffic study. There was a large investment into this. And I agree with my colleague, Mark Williamson. I do believe we should try the traffic study. After the traffic study is completed by both, including the fire and the police department, we can go forward and taking a look at that. And I also agree with our president because of, I don't believe that parking is going to be available with those houses that are in that proximity of this island. Because of, that may be, that we don't know the traffic study yet, so let's see if people can actually continue to park in front of their homes, okay? So after that, go ahead, I'm sorry, Stacy.
No, the only other comment I want to have is, as far as the direction of traffic didn't change, it exactly as how it was operating before. So as far as the council's doing anything with
It's nothing to do with our
that-
traffic authority, absolutely.
Correct. Any signage, obviously, that's new will
Correct.
need to come before council to approve that signage. I was just made aware of this probably tonight. I had no idea that
Don't even worry
there was
about
a
it,
curb,
Steph.
so.
Don't worry
But
about
as
it.
far as the authority, I'd have to look to see what the rationale for why that one didn't go to.
Well, there's like many of them. There's not just the.
But I'm pretty sure the entire plan was presented to the council. I can't recall, but I think Stephanie came down when she was presenting the stop signs and the yield sign to be added, or was there a traffic light added? I can't exactly remember what was done there.
Isn't this the case? Sorry to isn't this the case of the council has the opportunity to make these decisions, but so does the engineering department and public safety commissioner. The same way when like streets are laned, they also have the jurisdiction to rule on this. I don't know. We just want to double check because I know.
I don't know because I'm getting kind of the tail end. I mean, I'm not involved in the process of doing any of these
It's,
things,
but I do believe it's government work with government in the future. I do believe that there's any type of road change and stuff, exhaust all avenues and come to your colleagues, come to the council, especially the council members in the district who you're changing the road. Of course, Austin, this is just future stuff. I know,
Yeah.
listen, I know you're new.
Well,
I know
like
how
said,
it
I mean,
is,
this
been
was a
there, so.
Pre-existing thing that I was just
Yeah.
kind of taking
So in the
time
future,
and
of
finishing
course-
it, so,
It's just an issue that we all
Yeah.
go through.
yeah.
It's a learning curve, well, it's a learning curve, we always go through that.
The only thing that's missing in this island is a statue.
We're
If
gonna
you
put it on
it-
top of the
so
sewer
if it's
cap or
all
what?
statue there, you mean the common council doesn't have authority to do that? Come on. Don't be, I've been here for 25 years.
We fully agree with
You
you.
have the authority, you've
Yes.
always had the authority over the streets. And you can't build something in the middle of the street without the common council approving it.
Absolutely,
That
Ron.
is sacrosanct. You wanna go over the building
So then
over on Elizabeth Street?
wait,
That's a
One minute.
no-brainer lawsuit.
Then Joey.
So, let's forget about that.
Okay.
I think you gotta work on to how you're going to, you just think of 7 foot of snow, like Buffalo got not too long near the end of the winter. At 7 foot of snow, you're not gonna see anything there,
That's correct.
period.
Joe, can I go first? Just
And
for-
No, I just
even
want
the
one
small
thing,
plow
real
is
quick.
gonna have to find out where to go to make that clear. And then you're gonna tell these neighbors, what are you doing parking there? Now your car is under 6 feet of snow, how can we get a plow in there? I've seen it happen here, it happens. I'm saying you gotta understand that that thing is not gonna go away in about a month from now when you do get 6 or 5 feet of snow. It's gonna be difficult to know where that thing is.
Thank you.
Now,
Ron.
you have to make that a safe environment.
That's there.
That's all I'm saying to you, because you've been made aware of the problem. And you don't want to be the one who they point the finger at after. Now, the councilwoman may have felt, because there was no change in the road directions or any of that, there was no council legislation to say that Dunham Road's going this way or Eastwood's going, I don't know about that, and I won't get into that. It makes no difference. Talking about the past is ridiculous. You talk about the future. What are you gonna do with this problem? That involves the police department, the fire department, the DPW, the engineering department, and the law department, and your council, and the 9 council people.
Understood, Ron.
That's it. You all have to get together and not be at heads with one another, but find a solution. And one of the solutions was, but Councilman at Large says, we'll just remove it.
Yes, Ron.
Well, that's for you to decide. You could very well do that.
Okay.
And I
Okay,
know it costs money, but you could very well do it.
Joseph, and then
Okay.
Steph.
Yeah,
That's all.
Just really quick, so when I asked the question 10 minutes ago or whatever, if it had to come in front of the council, I was told no. Now we're saying it does. So what's the story here?
We
you're
disagree.
talking about
Huh?
curb cuts.
People
No.
disagree.
Well,
There's different aspects of the project. I know I'm out of order here, but there's different aspects of the project. The traffic pattern did not change. That did not have to come
Well,
before
the
the
curb
council.
cuts, though,
That's the piece that did.
That's what I'm talking about, is the curbs that they put there should have been in front of the council.
Curb
Well, that's,
cuts- curb cuts
that's
are-
what I'm talking about.
Curb cuts are slightly different. If you're referring
Okay.
to curb, that's what was put there.
Yeah, so you-
Curb cuts,
Yeah, so you're talking about the installation of new curb.
There's other ones.
That's-
They know. So let's move on. All right, Celeste?
So I just want to point out, the reason that Austin had that section, the very same section, painted with the white hash marks, was in order to see how this would go over. And no one peeked. And the people who apparently have been driving over those white hash marks, am I right, Deputy Chief, you shouldn't, where you see white hash marks in the road, the big place I think about is when you come off Burstone to get to South Utica, and there's huge hash marks. To keep you from cutting up, you're not supposed to drive over those markings, correct? So all the people at Dunham and Eastwood who have been driving over, apparently, have been driving over those hash marks. I mean, that was why we put that down in advance as a trial run. And nobody here complained about it, nobody in that neighborhood complained about it. Nobody could think that that was there because we were marking out for new sewers or something. It was very clearly the kind of hash marks you put in the road, anywhere in the road, to say, don't drive here.
I-
Celeste,
I want to have a
Mr.
first-hand
President,
account. I do. I'm a resident there. I thought those hash marks were there to make the intersection safer. I didn't know it was going any further than that.
I guess
But safer in
many
what way,
people didn't.
Mr.
Because
President?
it was guiding the traffic. But
Yes.
okay, so I'll ask you the same question. Have you ever had to pull onto the shoulder to avoid something? And if you were pulling onto the shoulder, there was a curb this big, would you be able to avoid that thing? The whole thing is completely revolving around the fact that there's unfinished pieces of this that now the council has to deal with. And the people that put this here aren't the ones who are delivering the bad news to the people who might not be able to park in front of their houses anymore. So council people are frustrated. This is all, quote, subjective, but we're talking about it now because we didn't talk about it before this was put down.
Yes, Mr. President, I think you're correct. Steph, you have the floor.
The only point I was gonna make, just in comparison to other projects, is that both of these, at least the two that we're referring to in this case, West Utica and South Utica, related to ARPA. So there was a lot of
We're not saying
different
we're the
in-
funding. We're
No,
not
no,
saying
no,
nothing about that.
I'm not saying anything related to funding. I'm just saying how the project came about was related to funding and what council people wanted in their districts.
That's correct.
So it's a slightly different than just engineering saying, we think this is good, this is what we want to do. So it was a slightly different process. I'm just saying that that may be some of the rationale for why these projects are taking on a different light and coming to council in different ways. Just maybe one of the reasons for that happening. I'm not saying it's accurate, I'm just saying that may account for it because many departments were trying to figure out how to deal with these projects and getting them done to the way council members wanted and pursuing them that way.
All right, well, my colleagues agreed to a traffic study, and we want something written from the, I guess, the DPW about the plowing. And we need something from the fire department. I'm assuming hopefully they'll be included in the traffic study, and something from the police department. So my colleagues could review it and take a look at all the, I'm sorry, Mr.
Maybe
Brand.
somebody should ask some of the residents as well.
Well,
I mean, just to get their input, that's
I'm-
all.
I'm
You
ass-
don't have to take it.
I'm assuming the
Well, Mr.
president,
Gleamy has, I have, Mr. Williamson has.
of course, they're not going to welcome not being able to park in front of their homes if the traffic study does see that. But again, it's going to be the council's purview after to decide, but they need all the facts in front of them first.
And
So,
with that study, can we have the estimated cost of whatever the options are that we do to pursue?
Austin,
Proceed.
can you have a, dismantling cost also on it and a repaving cost?
Thank you,
Of
Austin.
course. Is there anything else we need? Of course, both pieces will be put in the committee. Is there any other additional discussions? Okay. Austin, thank you very much for your time.
One last thing is
Go
that
ahead, sir.
the blacktop plants close in like 3 days.
Well, most likely we won't be able to blacktop until next year, so,
Yeah,
yes.
so.
Either that or you can crush and run it, but that's something that the council would have to look at in the future. All right?
Yeah.
Any other additional discussions, council? Okay, so Austin, thank you very much. Is there anything we have to discuss additionally in the pre-meeting conference today? No? Is there a motion to close? All in favor? Thank you.
I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Common Council to order. It is the third Wednesday of November, 2023. Clerk, please call the roll.
Aiello, Burmaster, Friend, Miola, Irvin, Beatrice, Williamson, Classimo Testa, DeBrango, Galimi, all present.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for the deceased members of the council. First order of business this evening is the minutes of the previous meeting. The minutes have been posted to Ecode 360 for the public and council to view. Do I hear a motion to dispense and accept the minutes?
Motion, Mr. President.
Second.
Any opposed? We're going to accept it. Bernie goes the second. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes of the previous meeting have been accepted and dispensed. Public hearing. We do not have one this evening, so the public hearing is now closed. We're going to move right to public comment period. We have 3 people signed up this evening. The first is Jared Tuff. Please approach. The Common Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244 Public Comment Period Rule. Are you in agreement with this?
Yes, I see everything.
Please state your name and you may begin. Thank you.
Jared Tuff. Well, first, I want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Happy for that. Yep, it's on. We definitely need more Republicans like Trump, hopefully, so we could get rid of all of the people that were brought here illegally to push my people more down on the social level. And so just, make more money and put more money in Caucasians' pockets. We need some money too. And some land. There's hardly no land left. I think about Martin Luther King and how he changed his mind at the end. He felt that integration was wrong. He felt that we should have our own and we should be a working, productive part of society. And instead of having, like the Caucasian strings and hands into our neighborhoods and taking from us, and then after gentrifying the land, and it's just a lot of drugs and guns pumped in our neighborhood from higher ups. And so he changed his mind at the end. So that's probably why he was probably murdered, because he did not want the integration after. He wanted us to have our own. And I never agreed with him until I'm almost 50 now. And now I see why, because I'm like, well, I always had, Caucasian friends, and I always, and now I see why, because I look at our community and our neighborhood, and it's ragged. But if you look at the Caucasian people, they're doing good, and they keep doing good. But it's my people that keep getting the short end of the stick, and all we get is programs in our community, and the programs, it puts money in Caucasian pockets, and the programs don't even help, so we're kind of tired of it. But I had a dream, because I've been very stressed out over this, and I've been trying to do something about it, talking to many people. I've been waiting for, different people to get in contact with me. They say we're gonna have a meeting, and it never flies. So I've been, last time I spoke, I was looking very hopeful to what was going on, but the hope is sort of going away. So I had a dream, like Martin Luther King. And God came to me, and he had a beautiful smile. And I was a little upset. I said, what are you smiling at? We're going through some stuff here, And he promised me that we're in the days of Jared still, and I'm gonna be able to watch all of things correct itself. So that gave me some hope, and it felt real. I never had a dream about God before, but I'm still gonna do the footwork I need to do for my people, because we are being slaughtered. Our community is being taken. I'm so happy that Mike won, and hopefully his values are Republican, because it feels like the black community is always tricked by the Democrats, who seem like communists, really, and they just want more money, more money, more money, more money, but they never do anything. They never fix nothing. And if you look at where we grew up at, it's gone. There's no land left. There's hardly nothing left. It's all gone to the immigrants. But like I said, every other race is doing pretty good. The Bosnians came here and they're doing good. The Italians been doing, and we're just last on the list. And I just feel if we don't do something, even though it doesn't affect you guys, but it affects us, and we're just gonna have nothing. And I just wanna say, I really hope you guys, every time I come talk, I just feel that I'm ignored. No one says anything. No one gives a good rebuttal, unless you want to give a rebuttal about making some small thing that I made a mistake on. Like, no, we did this. But I want a rebuttal on that. That's what I want a rebuttal on. You know, I challenge Mike when he get into office, what are you going to do about this gentrification and displacement that happened? I look at you as an honest person. I look at you as you control your own mind, that you're not led by the swamp. So I'm hoping that you will get in here and you will do something, you know, about it. But I'm really hoping for Trump to get in here. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker this evening is Ron Vincent. Common Council's provided you a copy of Section 3244 Public Comment Period Rule. Are you in agreement with this?
Yes, I am.
Please state your name and you may begin.
My name is Ron Vincent. I've seen a big change in this room over the years, and I hope that things are going to change. I want to congratulate all the new people that have been elected, and I hope that you're going to be an instrument in changing things. Tonight I came in here and I heard about a street project that was done over in South Utica. I know nothing about it. I can't say one way or another if I'm for it or against it. But over the years, I remember sitting in that back room on a weekday night when people used to get together and talk about things in a committee of group for different parts of the city. And things were discussed. People talked about them. They discussed them back and forth. And then eventually, the following week or a week after, it would come up for a vote. But it gave people time to look into things. Then all of a sudden, you notice things are brought up an hour before the meeting. This is what we're going to vote on tonight. We're going to do this, or we're not going to do this, but we're going to vote on it tonight. Well, gee whiz, we haven't even seen the figures, any of the laws. We haven't been able to study anything. Now all of a sudden, like the Genesee Street deal, the Incomplete Street project, which I called it, was brought up 10 minutes before a meeting even started, wasn't even talked about in the pre-meeting. This Common Council needs to go back to the way it was before. It needs to have everybody input and think about things, and think about them for a week or maybe two before they're even thought of. Get our police and fire and DPWs involved. Let them even know what's going on before a law is passed and something stupid is done. It's just gotten crazy, and it's got to change. It's got to go back. It's got to be brought to the people's attention. I mean, we got a newspaper, we got TV stations, we got radio stations. These companies should be used to put it out to the public, say, the city's going to have a discussion on should we do this, and let the people hear about it. It doesn't have to be everybody in the city. If there's a project going on in North Utica, the North Utica people should be involved with it. If there's a project going on in South Utica, the same way. You don't have to have people from Cornhill and West Utica involved with it, but put it out there, and the people that live there should be coming in and listening to it and putting their thoughts to you people here. Another thing, I call him Santa Claus Schumer. Every time he comes to Utica, New York, he's like Santa Claus handing out money. He's handing millions here, millions there, millions there. It's out of my pockets. It's out of your pockets. This is government money that we put in the government's pocket, and they're just handing them out to get votes. That crap's got to stop. It's just like the city of Utica. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. Then every time you come to a common council meeting, all you hear about is legislation to borrow for this, to bond for that, to borrow for this, to bond for that. That's why 12 years ago I talked to Heather, your woman that does your budget. She told me 12 years ago the city was in debt for $42 million. I thought that was astronomical. I asked her last year when the new budget came out, she says it's 90-some million dollars in 12 years. Where the heck is this money ever going to come back to pay for? It's just like our government. Let's send another $10 billion to Iran. You know, come on, this is our money. You people pay property taxes just like I pay them. And I pay them to the government, I pay them to the city, I pay them to the state. And they just give our money away like crazy. Let the people know what's going to happen. Get the people's input. God, it's important. Thank you.
The next speaker this evening is Eugene Bradley. Please come forward. The Comment Council has provided you a copy of Section 3244 Public Comment Period Rule. Are you in agreement with this?
I agree.
And please state your name.
First name is Eugene William Bradley.
Thank you. You may begin. Thank
Now,
you.
the reason why I normally don't participate in this type of exercise, but tonight I thought I would come to let you know that it pains me to see all this black violence, black on black violence, these young people being killed. I bet you Palmieri doesn't even know how many young people he failed, how many young people died on his watch. It's not even a concern to him. I don't feel that it was a priority. And I come here today to let you know I was born here in Utica, New York, September 3rd, 1961. This is my nucleus. You are my village, okay? And the reason why I stand here, poised, polished, and articulate, educated, is because I was provided opportunities. I had a foundation. People cared about me. They wanted the best for me. I don't see anybody with moral compasses and a conscience about the community that looks different than them, because we all have an vested interest here, you know? And I wanted to just, and I always wonder, I analyze and I critique a lot of things, and I said, well, what's different today that what is not in place when I was growing up? And I started thinking about all the different departments, all the different programs, all the different agencies. Like, I was the first class of Head Start. Think about that. I'm the first class of Head Start in Utica, New York. That's me, okay? That was my foundation, okay? I was the last class at Powder School, okay? Before we was integrated up into Kernan School. So that was my first time interacting, being diverse with other students that didn't look like me. That's who's standing here. That's why I'm well-rounded, because you guys gave me an opportunity. These kids is not giving that opportunity. You're not investing in their futures. And when you don't invest in their futures, this is what you have. You have shootings on the news every night. You have killings. What did you think was going to happen? When you divert decades of urban renewal funds, the whole purpose, the concept of that funding was to build up the community. And if you're not putting the money in the community, then you get what you got. Okay? So let's not be surprised. Let's not act surprised. Because if you don't invest in it, this is what it looked like. Now, we are called Utica now. You are known as Utica. That's your reputation. Okay? So let's turn that around. Let's change that around. Now, I stand here. I done worked 35 years professionally. I started working professionally when I was 16. I worked at Utica Psychiatric Center. So I was already getting training when I was in high school. You are already preparing me for my future. You are giving me training. I was getting directions. That we got to get back to. We got to get back to the basics. It's not about buildings. It's not about sidewalks. It's about people. Government is for the people, by the people, and of the people. That's your purpose. Are you having impact on people? All that other stuff will come later. And I don't care how many billions and millions of dollars buildings that you may be building, at the end of the day, if you don't have a Marshall Plan for your minority community, no peace, no justice, right? No justice, no peace. So you're not gonna have any pleasure going over here to this Adirondack Center and all these other fancy places you wanna build. If these people do not feel like they are being welcomed, they're part of the program, the city, because let me tell you another perspective that you probably don't even realize. Most people in the black community views Utica as a syndicate. It's a city for white people and a syndicate for minorities. That's your perspective. That's how you're being viewed, people. So let's just snap out of this Disneyland stuff and let's start talking about real stuff. Let's save our young people. Let's save our city, because it's going to get worse if you do not invest the money now. And you don't even have enough money to really change it around, but what you can change around is your perspective and your attitude, because that's the beginning of it. You know, because I want other people to stand here when they get 62 and feel good about their city and be able to tell them all the projects and all the programs that they were involved. And this is the reason why I stand here poised and polished, educated. You know what I mean? Because the city invested in me. My city believed in me. And when you stop doing that, you get what you got. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the final speaker this evening. Reports from the city officers. Chief Ingersoll.
I'd just like to say that the month of November, fire department is helping to raise funds for one of our firefighters, Asher Kenya. He's suffering from stage 4 liver cancer. He's been battling this for quite some time. He's out of work right now. If you are interested in contributing or helping Esther out at all, there's a website off of Operation Brotherhood. It's on social media. It's well placed. But Esther is in quite a fight. He's doing okay, but he has to go to Philadelphia every 2 weeks for treatments, and we're really rooting for him, trying to pull for him, and hoping that he pulls through. He's a great human being, and he's really an exemplary firefighter. So,
Thank you. Corporation Counsel.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Deputy Chief Noonan.
Nothing to report.
Commissioner Thomas.
Just for those who aren't aware, or as a reminder, there is the first public opportunity to weigh in on the reuse of the former St. Elizabeth's campus tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at the Parkway Rec Center.
Thank you. All right, that concludes the reports from the city officers. Do we have any cash reports this evening? Thank you. Petitions, remonstrances, and appeals. First District, Council Member Katie Aiello, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder, on New Year's Eve, we have the Bank of Utica, City of Utica New Year's Eve party, so that's already well underway to be planned, so hope to see you all there. Other than that, that's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Second District, Councilmember Robert Burmaster, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to bring up some things for the West Utica Neighbor Association. Our meeting is the 13th. There's going to be pictures that include Santa. West Utica is in conjunction with Polar Express, sponsored 2 families for the train ride tonight, one being the children from the State Street fire. West Utica has tickets for the Thayer Bowman fundraiser, $15 each, December 2nd from noon to 3. Encouraging community outreach participation, and threshold for the income requirements for the food pantries had gone up. West Utica is also collecting non-perishable food for Feed Our Vets through this weekend. And then lastly, we are in our prayers and thoughts, the family of the Varick Street shooting, and hope for a solution in locating Dean Alcantara. Did I say that right?
Dean Alsante.
Alsante. Thank you for your time, but that's all I have this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Third District, Councilmember Celeste Friend, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to repeat what Mr. Thomas said. I hope that everybody, not only from South Utica, but from across the city, will join us tomorrow night at the Parkway Rec Center, 7 p.m. for the first public hearing about the reuse plan for St. E's. Really important opportunity to contribute, and we need the community input. And I want to congratulate Mr. Galimi on a successful campaign. I hope I speak for everybody in this room that we wish you all the success. The city depends upon your success, and so we wish it for you, and you certainly have my support. Thank you.
Thank you. 4th District and Majority Leader, Frank Miola.
Thank you, Mr. President. Of course, just to add on to what the Celeste, you will be missed, I guarantee it, as the president of the Common Council. But you won't go too far. It's only upstairs, so you won't be that far away. I do have to also, would everybody join me? He's going to probably get mad at me for saying this, but it is my colleague Frankie DeBrango's birthday today. Would everybody join me and wish him happy birthday together? Frankie, happy birthday.
Thank you. No singing. 40 years old, that's it. It's been enough for me.
He didn't want any cake. He didn't want any pizza or cake. He said, nope, I'm on a diet. So I said, okay, no problem. So again, I just want to wish my colleague a very, very happy birthday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. 5th District, Councilmember Venice Irvin. You have the floor.
First of all, Mr. President, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
A lot of people are excited, I guess. I'm a Democrat, but I know that you cross party lines and you're thinking, so I think we'll be okay.
Thank you.
Just that we do have, there was a shooting and a stabbing and something else in District 5 that I'm pretty sure that Deputy Chief Noonan can't talk about because they don't want to talk about how grisly it was. Unfortunately, people were passing around photos and videos of the crime scene, which was wrong. So I hope that, and I'll put it out there, I hope that in both murders that just happened, that people do come out and start talking about what happened on Varick Street to help the police department out because they do need help with that. And I'm pretty sure that they know who did it because there's a lot of things that they're looking at. But if anybody knows anything, I'm making a plea to you to please support our police department in getting what I consider a murderer off the street. Thank you.
6th District, Councilman Joe Beatrice, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mr. President. Again, congratulations to you and to all the winners, and I also want to congratulate the losers. We all know how difficult it is to run, and everybody should just hold their head up high, and again, congratulations. Frankie stole my thunder for Councilman DeBrango. Want to wish you happy birthday. And then I'd like to talk about the shooting on Varick Street. So this is the first time in my life that you hear about these shootings that it was extremely close to me. I want to send my condolences to the Smith family. They lost a brother and a son. And like I said, it's very extremely close to my family. I would like, on their behalf, to thank the police and the fire department who responded quickly to the scene that night. And I also would like to thank Lieutenant Curley, because I witnessed firsthand on Sunday when he come to the house and have to talk to a grieving family and explain everything to them. It was very heartbreaking, and he did an extremely great job, and I wouldn't want to have to do that all the time like he does, and I just want to thank everybody. Lastly, the 27th, week from Monday, we have our North Utica meeting, and it's at, I'll be there at 5:30 to 6:30, and then 6:30 is the normal meeting. The Legislator Leone is there with me from 5:30 to 6:30, and then we have our normal meeting after. So the public is all welcome to that from all over the city. And that's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Council at Large and Minority Leader Mark Williamson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing to pass. Thank you.
Councilwoman at Large Samantha Classimo Testa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to give out some numbers here. So 4,429 days Rob Palmieri would have been mayor of this, would be mayor of the city of Utica. Of those 4,429 days, I've had to spend 3,699 as a council person with him. There is 46 days until a new mayor of the city of Utica will be here, and I am very pleased for the first time that I will be able to work with a new administration. Mike, I know it'll be a pleasure to work with you, and I hope that we can continue, whether it's positive or negative towards each other, you know, we always have a positive outlook, and I know that our main goal will be the city of Utica. So I'm ecstatic to work with the new administration, because it's been a long 10 years for me, sitting in this seat, having to battle constantly, whether it was, you know, no matter what good I was trying to do for the city, it really was disappointing at times. But I pulled through, and here I am for another 2 years, and like I said, it's going to be nice to work for a new administration, and 46 days can't come soon enough, so thank you.
Thank you. President Pro Temp and Council at Large, Frank DeBrango, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Congratulations, but you're in trouble.
Yes.
Stop. No.
Is it
I'm
a
just
term
kidding.
or a sentence?
Just kidding, but I want to congratulate all the winners and even the people, the people who ran, myself, not making it there, but just putting that effort forward, wanting to serve in government. It's a tough thing to do, and I appreciate people getting involved, so that's a good thing. I think we got a good opportunity to move on, and I want to wish my grandson. He's going to be 3 years old on Friday, so I'll get to celebrate another birthday as well. So I want to wish him happy birthday. That is all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. Just two things. One, happy birthday. Thanks. And thank you, everyone, for coming. I suppose that's going to be three. That's the second, so three. And the last thing is, for most of the people in this room, you've run a campaign, and it's an insane amount of work, dedication, mentally, physically, not just on yourself, on your families, every single person who surrounds you. So thank you to every single person who decides to get involved with your local or municipal government, because there comes a time where that is how you feel you should contribute, and you decide to dip your toe in it. And sometimes it's thankless, sometimes it's not, and that comes even if you don't end up in a position. So thank you to every single person who has run. Thank you to every single person who's helped a candidate. And thank you for everyone who makes elections happen, because without the actual support staff that actually get everything working. We had an incident during our election day where we had to move a polling place, and our Board of Elections really went above and beyond to literally at the drop of a hat move a polling place so our elections could continue. So thank you. I can't say that enough. That's all. All right, on to our insanely long agenda. First piece, ordinance 1, an ordinance moving a traffic item. I think due to pre-meeting conference, someone may want to introduce and place this in committee, so I'll hear that motion if someone is going to introduce the piece.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to waive the Thursday rule for all the pieces.
Second.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, Thursday rule is waived.
And Mr. President, I'd like to move into committee ordinance number 1.
Second.
Any opposed to placing this in committee? Okay, ordinance number 1, named ordinance removing the traffic island at Eastwood and Dunham Road, has been introduced and placed into committee. I'd like to note that the engineering department was here and did present documentation on that, and I'd like the clerks to please include that with the legislation in committee. Thank you. Right, next piece, ordinance number 2, which I'm looking for. There it is. Ordinance number 2 is ordinance requesting a traffic study for the traffic island at Eastwood and Dunham Road. I would like to ask the council if this needs to be an ordinance requesting a traffic study.
I don't think so.
I think I didn't
It's
write
up
it.
to you.
The judge wrote it, so.
Do you want an ordinance requesting the traffic study? Do you want the request that,
I think there should be something on record.
Okay, all right. Would you like to move it?
Yep, I'd like to move for a traffic study. I also like to make sure that the DPW is included in this traffic study. My colleague would like to see that, and also the fire department included in the traffic study, not only the police department.
Okay.
And the DPW. We want the input from all departments, Mr. President. So if we'd like to amend to add those individual departments in there, we need some kind of verification letter from them on their concerns about the island.
So, first of all, who was the second? Okay, there's a second. I'm gonna read it as is, and then we can amend it.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas a traffic island has been erected at the intersection of Eastwood and Dunham Road, and whereas said traffic island was erected without a police or engineering study having been submitted to the Common Council for its review prior to the construction, and be it ordained, a traffic study and engineering study shall be performed and submitted to the Common Council that contains direction of travel, needed traffic signs, possible lighting needed, and if the traffic island should be completely removed, returning the roads to their previous design prior to the unauthorized construction.
To be included in the response.
So would you want to just,
Go ahead.
it says a traffic study and engineering study shall be performed. I think we can,
With DPW input.
well, no, so there was an engineering study done, right? We have options there, that exists. So do
Right.
you want to replace that with a traffic study, including input from that
Police,
listing
fire, and
each
DPW.
comma shall be performed?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll write it out and then we'll make the motion on the floor. All right, so a traffic study, comma, with input from DPW, UFD, UPD, just the three, is that good?
Yep. Well, the traffic study is gonna include the bus stop too, right? What about the buses? I'm worried about there was concern about the buses.
I think
so-
UFD would probably do the traffic study for
With including the
all-
buses,
that's-
all right. Okay.
Well, there's UPD and UFD and DPW in the list.
We'll still have engineering input, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep, okay.
All right, and then, yeah, Councilperson Aiello also wanted the cost analysis of what it would take to remove.
Please add that.
Which is very.
Yep, important.
Yeah, that's important. All right, so, traffic study with input from shall be performed and submitted to the Common Council.
Also the cost of
And
prior design.
cost of removal.
What? And Mr. President, could we change it to a resolution, please? I don't think we need an ordinance.
It's
Or-
up to the floor.
Yeah, we don't need an ordinance for that. That's within our
All right,
authority.
so the first amendment would be to strike and engineering study and replace with,
Traffic
after study would be comma, with input from DPW, UFD, and UPD, comma, as well as an analysis of cost of removal.
I make a motion to move.
So moved by Frank Miola. Second. Any opposed to the amendment? Okay. Yeah, that was Williamson. All right, it is amended currently, as
Can we
is.
vote?
Do you want to leave it in ordinance or not?
It doesn't matter. Let's go
It's up
for
to
it.
you.
Yeah, we're good.
I can't make that change.
I'm good. I'm good.
Are we voting on this or are we changing it?
Let's change it. Let's change it to a resolution. Motion to change it to a resolution.
Okay. Is there a second? Any opposed to modifying the piece on the floor to read as a resolution? Okay, no one's opposed. So this will be changed, according to that amendment, to a resolution requesting a traffic study for the traffic island at Eastwood Ave and Dunham Road. And then it would also modify the be it ordained to
be it resolved.
resolved.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, I'd like the motion
Any
to move the.
opposed to, yeah, move that?
Yes, I'd like to
Okay.
move.
We already did it. It's done.
Like to move the
Bring it to
vote.
a vote.
Yes.
Okay. Your votes in this resolution.
8 yeas adopted.
All right. Next piece, proposed resolution number 3, which we've already waived the Thursday rule for, is Commissioner of Deeds. Who would like to move this?
Motion to move, Mr. President.
Okay, second from Beatrice. Be it resolved that the Common Council does hereby approve the following person eligible for appointment to Commissioner of Deeds in and for the City of Utica, New York, within the term ending December 31st, 2024. It is Jesse Wilson. Your votes. It is a county clerk employee.
9 yeas adopted.
Next piece is resolution authorizing adjustment to the 2023-2024 solid waste service charge.
Motion to move, Mr. President.
Okay. Be it resolved, the Common Council of the City of Utica hereby approves the applications for adjustment to the City of Utica solid waste service charge for the fiscal year 23-24 as follows. See the attached list. Here it is. We went over it. Your votes.
9 yeas adopted.
Any other business?
One, we have to discharge in committee the newspaper. I think my colleague, Katie Ayala, would like to make a motion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to discharge the official newspaper, while also adding, I hope to bring this up in January, but didn't see my passing it for 5 weeks is worth it right now.
All right. Any opposed?
Second,
Is there
Mr.
a second?
President.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any opposed? All right, that's discharged.
Motion to close, Mr. President.